Hello, Dawson. I hope you're feeling better. Your mum told me that you weren't feeling well, so I thought the best medicine is reading a book, lying back and reading a book. So I thought I'd read aloud one chapter of The Floods, the book that we're going to be reading at the end of the week. It's one of the chapters that I really love, and I was wondering if you can let me know whether you think it's suitable to put on YouTube or not. It's the Monday morning at 5:30 a.m. and it's got a picture of the alarm snake. Look, which I think is amazing. Monday morning, 5:30 a.m. As the morning light peeped in through the blood-red curtains, the Flood's alarm snake bit Mordonna on the neck and woke her up. An alarm snake is like an alarm clock, except it doesn't make any noise, and it wakes you up by biting you on the neck, which means it isn't actually like an alarm clock at all, except it does wake you up and it does alarm you. The big advantage of the alarm snake is that it only wakes up the person it bites, so someone else in the bed can stay fast asleep. If you are a normal human, it doesn't wake you up so much as kill you, because it's very poisonous. That will certainly wake me up. Nerlin was lying on his back with his mouth open, snoring like a hippopotamus that has just swallowed a rusty steam train. The alarm snake licked the sleep from Mordonna's eyes and slithered into the next room to wake Bella. Mordonna checked herself in the mirror to see that she was still as beautiful as she had been when she went to bed, and then went downstairs to start the day. "Come on, everyone," she shouted as she went downstairs. "Time to get up, time to get ready for school." There were 7 children and only 1 bathroom, so there were the usual fights over who got in first, just like in normal houses. Everyone tried to get in there before Merlin Mary, because it would take her up to an hour to do her hair, on account of the fact that it covers every square centimetre of her body. She even has hair on her eyeballs and tongue. While she was in the bathroom, though, she charged up all the electric razors and toothbrushes. Breakfast in the Flood house was probably a bit different from your house. Vlad, the cat, hung around under the kitchen table, rubbing up against someone's leg. No one ever discovered where the leg had come from or who it belonged to, but it was there every morning. There was a lot more running around than in normal houses, not because the children were out of control, but because their breakfast kept trying to get away from them. "Morbid, silent! Would you stop juggling your breakfast and just eat it?" snapped Mordonna. "Yeah, but look, Mum, we can make it stick to the ceiling," said Morbid. Silent simply nodded vigorously and grunted. He always thinks exactly the same as his twin and can't see the point in just repeating everything Morbid says. "Anyone can make slugs stick to the ceiling, dear. Just eat them up while they're still nice and slimy." Of course, there was always at least one slug that slid out of the bread and vanished under the stove. "Betty, stop teasing the sugar bats," said Mordonna. "Just put them in the warm milk and eat them up, or you'll have to go back to baby food." The trouble was that Betty wasn't really old enough for sugar bats. She was only 10, and her hands were too small to control them. She didn't actually tease them, that would be cruel, but every time she got one on her spoon and it held it up to her mouth, it tried to fly off and hide behind the fridge. In the end, she had to eat them with her fingers, even though it wasn't a very well-behaved thing to do. Vlad the cat added to the general chaos by leaping about on the kitchen units, trying to catch the bats, which of course he never did. After breakfast, Vlad always felt depressed for an hour or so. He had no problem ripping little birds to pieces or to bits, but he had never once caught a bat. No one had thought to tell him that sugar bats had radar and could see him coming. Witchflat and Merlin Mary didn't do much better. Their rats' brains were so slippery they kept falling on the floor and slithering off to join the slugs under the stove. "Oh, for goodness sake, children, if you can't stop mucking about, I'm just going to make you eat cornflakes," said Mordonna, tipping Satanella's accountant's entrails into her bowl by the back door. Satanella always had her meals right next to the cat flap, so she could make a quick exit into the garden. Quite often she had to throw her food up and eat it again several times before she could finally keep it down. "Ew, cornflakes," said Morbid. "Gross," said Betty. By the time the 6 youngest children had caught their breakfast and either eaten it or sucked its insides out, there was barely time to wipe the blood and slime off their chins before the wizard school bus materialised in one of the cellars. "Come on, kids, hurry up, the bus will be here in a minute," Mordono told them all. "Tangle your hair and make sure you've got blood under every single one of your fingernails. I don't want the other parents thinking I don't bring you up properly." "Mum, Satanella's eaten my homework," said Merlin Mary. "Well, she'll just have to bring it up again when you get to school," her mother replied. "And Morbid, do remember to lock your school bag. I don't want your lunch crawling out and biting the bus driver again." There are 2 reasons the bus appears in the cellar. Firstly, that's where the bus stop is. And secondly, the bus that takes 5 of the children to school is not an ordinary bus. So if it did appear in the street outside the Flood's house, it would scare the living daylights out of the neighbours. The school is a special wizard and witch school, hidden away from the normal world in a secret valley right up in the mountains in darkest Patagonia. To reach the school each day, Satanella, Merlin Mary, Winchflat and the twins have to cross several oceans, some of which can get very angry. They also travel over a desert or two, through 50-metre snowdrifts, up a tall waterfall and across a bottomless lake. All of which, of course, an ordinary bus would find a bit difficult to do. In fact, an ordinary bus wouldn't get more than 20 metres across the sea before sinking. The wizard school bus, on the other hand, covers all these vast distances in 9 minutes. To call the wizard bus a bus is stretching the definition of the word bus. The wizard bus is not so much a bus as a dragon with seats and a toilet. Of course, every dragon has to have a seat and a toilet. So there we go. Dawson, tell me whether you think that chapter is worth putting on YouTube. Well, I hope you're feeling better, and let me know what you think about the story. Take care. Bye.